5:30.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the regular city council meeting for this Tuesday, February 17th. Let's start with the roll call, please.
Blessum.
Here.
Fuller. Hayes.
Here.
Janser.
Here.
Olson.
Here.
Hittner.
Here.
Samuelson.
Here.
Thank you very much. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is the mayor's report. I have a proclamation, first of all, and this is a proclamation of February 22nd through 28th as Engineers Week, as follows. Whereas engineers use their scientific and technical knowledge and skills in creative and innovative ways to fulfill society's needs, and whereas engineers face the major technological challenges of our time, from rebuilding cities devastated by natural disaster, cleaning up the environment, and assuring safe, sustainable, and cost-effective infrastructure is designed and constructed to meet the needs of society. And whereas engineers encourage our young math and science students to realize the practical power of their knowledge and are leading by example in harnessing their own knowledge and skills to meet the challenges of the 21st century, now therefore do I, March Answer, Mayor of the City of Minot, hereby proclaim February 22nd through 28th as Engineers Week in Minot, and in recognition of the important past work and future contributions provided by engineers within our community and their vital role in creating safe, reliable infrastructure for the city of Minot and its residents. Signed, March Answer, Mayor. So I think maybe we have Lance, if you would come up and accept this on behalf of the engineer team, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your good work.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next, I have a letter of commendation, and I'm going to read a little bit about. I'm going to read this because it tells kind of the story of something remarkable that happened here. Dated January 25th. It is with sincere appreciation and respect that this letter is written to commend Monica Siverston, Sam Kemmer, and Jesse Waddell for their exceptional dedication, generosity, and service during the rehabilitation process of the police department's K-9 Caspian. Throughout this challenging period that took K-9 Caspian out of service for nearly 10 weeks after an ACL tear and successful surgery repair, these individuals selflessly donated their time, energy, and expertise to support the recovery and well-being of K-9 Caspian. Their commitment went well beyond what was expected, demonstrating not only professionalism but genuine compassion and care for a valued law enforcement partner. The time and effort they contributed played a meaningful role in the K-9's rehabilitation and return to duty. Police K-9s serve with unwavering loyalty and courage, and the support provided by Monica, Sam, and Jesse reflects the same dedication to service that these animals give to our community. Their actions exemplify the highest standards of volunteerism, teamwork, and community support, and their contributions did not go unnoticed. Monica, a massage therapy specialist, Sam, a chiropractic professional, and Jesse, a professional dog trainer, all contributed to Caspian's care, helping support a smooth and speedy recovery. On behalf of the Minot Police Department and City of Minot, we extend our deepest gratitude and commend these individuals for their outstanding service. Their willingness to give of themselves made a lasting impact and serves as an example of the positive difference individuals can make through kindness and commitment. And it's signed by Sergeant Taylor Jensen, K-9 Minot Police Department, Chief Michael Fry, and myself. So if you all would come up front, I'd like to present these to you, please. All right. So continuing with the mayor's report, since the last council meeting, I was actually on a Task Force 21 trip to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and 20th Air Force to learn more about the Sentinel construction and planning that's going on, and what we will be seeing here at Minot Air Force Base. So this was a trip of the Sentinel Working Group from Task Force 21. Cassidy Jalmstead is chairing that, and so we had a very good trip. Good visit with General Huser, and that hopefully will give us some good guidance as we go forward. The rest of the activities were pretty routine. I have one other announcement, and that is that we are kicking off a Good Neighbor Award, and this is something where we want to identify and recognize a good neighbor citizen in Minot who is doing some extraordinary things to help folks in the community, to make the community better, who are exemplary citizens. And so we're gonna kick off nominations, which will be due by March 22nd, and then the presentation of the award will be on April 6th when we have our State of the City address. So if you know of somebody, your friend, your neighbor, who is quietly going about doing wonderful things in the community, be sure to get a nomination in to nominate them. So, all right. And with that, are there any questions of me? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on. City Manager's report.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, my report is in the packet, as is the norm. I stand by for any questions. I think of significance in there is the support that the entire team has given Chief Mike Fry and the police department as they've been looking for temporary animal shelter options. But it's been a team effort, and I'm proud of the entire team supporting the police department, looking at those options for the future.
All right. Any questions for the City Manager? City Finance Director.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I just wanted to take a moment to remind the public that the notice of funding opportunity is still out for the entitlement dollars that the city has. There's still some time left to get an application in, so they can go on the city's website. All the details are there. We talked about it at the last meeting, but just to put that at top of mind for folks that might be listening tonight.
Okay, thank you very much for that reminder. Anything else? All right. We'll move on. Item number 5 is consent items. I have not been asked to pull any items this evening. If there's anybody who wishes to have an item pulled at this time, please let me know, and we'll pull it out and discuss it individually. Otherwise, the consent, section 5 will be passed as a single motion, so. Seeing no one, is there such a motion? Alderman Fuller.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Fuller, second by Alderman Blessam. Any discussion of the motion? Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion passed unanimously.
The next section, section 6 is our action items, and we will go ahead with the first item, which is the follow-up to the hearing that was held about the M&S Concessions liquor license. Is there a motion from the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Pittner.
I'll move to approve and adopt the proposed council findings. I will direct staff to perform an auction through sealed bids to advertise for, let's say, 60 days with no bid minimum.
Second.
Okay, we have motion and a second. Any discussion? Alderman Blessam.
Yeah, just real quick, I like that. I think no bid minimum will tell us where the market actually is for these things right now, so I appreciate that part, Paul.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, we appear ready to vote. Let's do that. Oh, here it comes.
The motion passed unanimously.
We move on to item 6.2. Item 6.2 is a public hearing. It's case number 2026-06, and it is an easement vacation for Lot 1 Golden Nugget, 7th edition, in a minor plat. This is a public hearing. Anybody who wishes to speak to this item for or against, please do so now. Again, a public hearing. I see no one who is rising to speak to this. Is there a motion from the council? Alderman Pittner.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we close the public hearing and approve as recommended.
Okay, there's a motion.
Second.
Second by Alderman Blessam. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, let's cast our votes.
The motion passed unanimously.
Item 6.3, our next item is the award of the remodel of the Minot Police Station to Ackerman Esvold. This is a recommendation based on a selection committee that was held based on submissions by the various firms. Is there a motion by the council?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Motion by Alderman Fuller, second by Alderman Hayes. Any discussion of the motion? Seeing none, I assume we're ready to vote. Let's go ahead and cast our votes.
The motion passed unanimously.
Moving on, item 6.4 is a recommendation for council to assist with the Big M TIF agreement. What are the wishes of the council?
Move approval.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Pittner, second by Alderman Fuller. Any discussion? Alderman Blessam.
Thank you. If I could I ask the city attorney, the finance director, somebody, can you give us an update on where we stand right now, what the open issues are? You know, I know we've removed the barriers, which is a good step in the right direction. It looks more sealed up as of this moment, which is good because we got a lot of snow coming in, it sounds like. So can you give us an update on where we sit and what the issues are?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the reason we're bringing this forward is there are a number of issues that we need to work through to move this project forward to completion. A few weeks ago, we had some discussions with an attorney representing the owners of the project or the investors of the project. They have alluded that they have some folks that may be interested in purchasing the property, but we have to work through the encumbrances that are currently with the property. There's a mortgage. Obviously, there was investors that put money into that. There's some construction liens. The city has some funding or back taxes that are due. There's an outstanding TIF agreement and a minimum assessment agreement. So there's a lot of things that we have to work through to unwind this a little bit. So regardless of what investor may come in to assume those details, we have to figure out what's allowable, what we can and can't do for starters. So that's partly why we need some assistance from outside counsel. The city has sold bonds, so we've made representations to bondholders. So there are some potential disclosures that may have to come along with this, depending on what goes forward. So we just need some assistance in navigating through that and what we can, what's possible to move this project forward.
Go ahead, Alderman Blessam.
Actually, if the city attorney
Oh,
maybe
city
wants-
attorney, go ahead.
And Mayor Blessam, or Mayor Janser, Alderman Blessam, it also just allows us to have a little bit more horsepower in the legal department to address this certain matter. We have a lot of issues that we're kind of working on right now, and this is one that just requires a decent amount of research, priority, phone calls. The council that we're recommending appointing is the same council that we had with us during the Cypress matters. And Dorsey's a huge law firm, so they have the time, the resources that are available to dedicate to kind of help get this matter resolved as expeditiously as we can. So that kind of along comes with the recommendation is that we think it'll help move it along a little bit quicker if we have a little bit more horsepower on the legal end.
Alderman Blessam.
All right, thank you. So for whoever can answer it, I guess one of the things that I want to sort of feel as we go through this process is that the city is certainly a party to it because we've got, as you said, we've got the bonds out there. We took a big flyer here on getting this to go. But at the same time, it's my hope that we aren't the hurdle, right? That the legal things and the deal making that's going to go on between a potential purchaser and the everybody who holds rights to certain portions of that project. It's my hope that the city is a great partner in all that. And I know that in my discussions with everybody, that's been the intention, but I just wanted to kind of publicly say that because sometimes the city can get the black eye and say it's the city that's holding us up. Well, I don't believe that it is. And so it's my hope that agreements can be made and that a new buyer comes in and is able to get that off the ground and the banks are satisfied and all that. I guess with all that being said, Dave, what are the maybe couple scenarios as far as the city is concerned? You mentioned that there's a TIF agreement which was giving the current owners certain rights, but also certain obligations during that period. Is one end of the spectrum that's just all wiped clean and we just hope that it gets back in use? And the other end of the spectrum is they assume all those, or what are the possibilities?
Mr. Mayor, Alderman Blessam, I think there's a lot of variables that come into play here. In the original agreements, there were some personal guarantees that came into play. There's a requirement for anyone that had, I believe it was more than 10% ownership of the project, was supposed to submit a personal guarantee. So there's a number of things that come into play here. And again, that adds to the complexity. We didn't know who all of the subsequent investors or owners were after we dealt with the original developer. So we're learning some of this as we go, assuming that some of that investment was done through some type of an entity. There may not be anything to collect if it's an LLC, for example, that was created just for the ownership of this investment property. There may not be any assets to collect from under those guarantees. So we have to work this backwards. There's a mortgage against the property. There's construction liens from contractors. You know, like we said, the city has the interest in it through the TIF. The minimum assessment agreement, I'm just connecting the dots that any successor developer will want to revisit that minimum assessment agreement, presumably to minimize the tax impacts that they'll have moving forward. So those are some things that we have to navigate through. We have to find out what we can do legally for starters, and what the best avenue or most efficient avenue to accomplish that is. That's why we're looking for the outside counsel. Now, long-term, best picture scenario for us from the city side is to get somebody to come in here and complete that project. If it stays in the condition it is and nobody wants to come in and buy that, presumably in a year or two, the county forecloses for back taxes. They become the proud owner of a derelict building, and it continues to deteriorate until it's not a viable project. And at some point, it comes up for demolition. And the taxpayers of this community get stuck with that bill at that point. So ultimately, the best possible scenario for us is to get a successor developer in here, get it completed, get it back on the tax rolls. That's how we recoup some of our investment in the project as well going forward. And to further complicate this, the county was in on this this TIF agreement too for a lesser period of years than the city was. So there's some additional complexities in how we unwind that and what the tax collections look like going forward that we'll have to navigate through.
Further discussion or questions? Okay. Thank you, City Finance Director. Okay, last call, any discussion? Not, time to vote.
The motion passed unanimously.
Moving on to item 6.5, this is a proposal from TPMA for Economic Development Data Services, and is associated. There's an associated budget amendment. Is there a motion from the council?
I'll move approval.
Moved by Alderman Blessam,
Second.
second by Alderman Fuller. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Blessam.
Thank you. So this was some work. Paul and I served on the committee that took a look at this. Just to kind of give everybody a quick overview of what we're talking about here is that this is the data services that our in-house economic development team, Brian Billingsley and his team, as well as MAC EDC and Visit Minot will all use a common system. This was one of the outcomes from the Economic Development Plan Review Committee, that this was a possibility, and this uses a placeholder that was meant for retail recruitment. That's why the budget amendment pulls that a little bit higher. So we're spending a little bit more than we expected, but in my estimation, this is one of the better uses that we have for those economic development sales tax dollars, because it benefits the community as a whole all at once. And so they have a common set of data and a common set of facts that they're able to use as they're marketing Minot to outside people and really trying to make things happen for the community. So I would urge my colleagues to go along with this and let's get the data working for us.
Further discussion? Alderman Pittner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I'll just echo Alderman Blessam's comments. And again, I think where some of that increased cost is it's so important to have working, whether it be through the chamber, time I visit Minot, or with the city. It's pertinent that we have good data, not just data, and data that matches up with respectable sources. So again, I fall in line with Alderman Blessam that I will support this.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, then let's go ahead and cast our vote.
The motion passed unanimously.
Next item is 6.6, which is a budget amendment related to the transfer of code enforcement to the police department. Is there a motion from the council?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Alderman Fuller,
Second.
second by Alderman Samuelson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. Let's go ahead and vote.
The motion passed unanimously.
That takes us to item 6.7, which is a City of Minot Animal Pound Services request for proposals. The recommended action is that we approve the RFP and authorize the staff to proceed with advertising it to the public. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
Moved by Alderman Blessum,
Second.
second by Alderman Samuelson. Discussion. Alderman Hayes.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules regarding this, I believe it was 6.7 on the January 20th agenda regarding the pound service. I just, after a lot more research on it and digging in, the one only applicant that we had, they met all the requirements of it, and we as city council threw at them disclosure of financials. It wasn't part of the request. Board members, it wasn't part of the request again.
I'll
So-
second that just so we can.
And,
Mr. Mayor, is-
just as a point of order, so there is a motion that's already on the floor. There's a motion and a second to approve. And so Alderman Hayes is making this, he's entertaining that you would like to make a motion to suspend the rules as a part of the discussion on the original motion. We'll have to dispose with the original motion that's on the floor first. And then depending upon what happens there, if it should fail, then I think that a motion to suspend the rules could be entertained by the council anew.
Because the motion to suspend the rules is not in order right now.
No, because there's a motion and a second. So the motion's before the council now. It'll have to dispose of that first before entertaining that particular motion.
Okay, so we are back to discussion on the original motion.
I can continue on that. It's just down the same path that, we're putting out for a new request or a new proposal when we had one that was acceptable and met all the criteria, and now we're back revisiting something that I feel is going to be more costly to the city. Breaking up, it's a good idea, gives more opportunity to vendors to be able to bid for the project. But it also, looking back, this isn't the right way to go when we had a good proposal originally. Everything that was required of the original one was met. So here we are potentially spending more money without a service to the city for a pound service. Over items that weren't even in the original RFP. Now with the new one, one of the items that was a big topic was a board member. It's not even addressed in the new RFP. It doesn't ask for a new board member. That was one of the big controversies with the director of Source Valley Animal Shelter, and that's not in the new RFP. As far as financial disclosures on this proposal especially, item number 3, the proposal, number F, or letter F, monthly expense reporting should not have to include profit and loss and balance sheets. This is a service provided. It's like go to Excel Energy, they're a service. Have them, sit on their board, ask them for a financial disclosure. This is a paid net company. They're paid in the rears. They're not given city money to spend at free will that they're accountable for. They're send an invoice, get paid net 30. That is, and that wasn't a requirement of the original RFP. So the one at hand, I can't support just knowing that we have the availability to have what I think a better service for the city and Minot at a reasonable cost.
Alderman Fuller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I guess first, when I requested financial data on the company, even though they are a service provider for us, if you go back, and I guess we're going to have this discussion, so I'll pull it out. Their 990 showed in 2023 they lost $470,000. Their 990 in 2024 showed they lost another $70,000. Do we not owe it to the citizens of Minot to make sure that the company that we're going to give money to, whether it's in the rears or in the fronts, is a viable company? Because I mean, I'm going to shift to just 1 second and say, we just got done talking about the Big M building. And here we are talking about $3.6 million of taxpayer money that may just disappear because of whatever happened. The company wasn't viable, whatever was going on behind the scenes. We didn't know all of that stuff, right? There was some nefarious stuff going on. So I don't have any qualms about asking people to see their financial data to make sure we're protecting the citizens in the city of Minot.
Alderman Hayes.
The issue with that is we're not funding them up front. We are paying an invoice that they have already provided services for. That's the difference. We're not giving them money up front. We're paying for a service in the rears just like you would pay your utility bill or a maintenance and technical service agreement that the city does. You pay them as they bill you. It has nothing to do with the loss to the city of funds. They're paid as they provide the service.
Alderman Blessum.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm gonna step back for a second because we launched headlong into a discussion that amounts to a reconsideration, which we can get to that motion in a minute if we head there. But I want to first thank the chief and his team. I want to thank the city attorney. I want to thank everybody who worked on getting this onto the next agenda for us. That's an unbelievable amount of work and effort that it took to get us to where that we're sitting today, based on directives that the council gave and a decision that was made that everyone in the community saw and was ready to move forward with. And so I want to start there, okay? And thank everybody for that hard work to make that happen, because it hasn't just been nothing over the last couple weeks. We started down a path that said, could we buy ourselves a few months to work through a couple things? Wasn't acceptable. Couldn't make it to summer to make sure we had a good plan. Nope, that wasn't going to work. So now it's time to scramble. Well, the chief and his team have scrambled. I believe the county today approved our plan to make sure that we're not going to leave any animals in the cold and in the environment if we don't have to. The county took their step to make sure that this happened. And so I'm a little bit frustrated that we don't seem to be able to make a decision and then stick by it, because we set off a whole bunch of work and effort when we do our work up here. And I take that seriously, and I make sure that I'm ready for it and that we make decisions to the best of our ability. Sometimes they're wrong, sometimes we make a mistake, and that's, we can deal with that. So with where I'm sitting today, staff brought back essentially exactly what we were looking for. Whether the board seat is there or not, to me, is a little bit of a question in the first place, because there are some legitimate reasons why this one is slightly different than the example I always give, which is the Commission on Aging. It is a little bit different, right? So that may not make as much sense, but understanding the financial viability of a partner of ours, I don't think is out of line, especially when, depending upon timing, it's public information. It's simply get the 990 to us, which I can pull up on the IRS website. It's just it's behind a little bit a lot of times. So I would urge my colleagues, because of the work that's been done and the path that we've chosen, to continue with the RFP process, because we may be back in exactly the same spot and able to make the same decision in about 60 days, and then we'll know where we stand. But this RFP does give us additional options that we asked for, one of which is to split the services, so that people who are willing to take care of cats, we may get 4 answers to that, and we'll get a competitive bid process. I'm always a little leery when we have one bidder for any contract that we do. not just because of the dollar side, but because of the risk that comes with that when we choose that contract. And so I would urge my colleagues to stay the course, get this work done. Let's get the RFP out and get the answers back, and then we look at the options.
Alderman Hayes.
Moving back to the original RFP, that unfortunately staff timing, and I do appreciate the hard work and the quickness that they got it done. But if we're back to the original RFP and that works out, we're off and running if that's approved. They provided a full, everything that you could want for animal shelter, they provided. The holdups were, number one, seeing the financials. That's none of our business. That is absolutely none of our business. If they're a business providing a service, we don't have the right to look at that. You got to discard that. The other argument was a board member. We're not entitled to have a board member on somebody that provides a service. That should be thrown out. So why didn't we approve the original RFP? That was within our budget. Now we're taking a gamble that our expenses are going to exceed maybe by double. Just looking at the City Manager Joyce's paper, basically $100,000 just for cats. That's no veterinary service. That's no cremations, no euthanizations. It's nothing. That's just to house them. Right there, we were at $145,000 last year with Source Valley Animal Shelter.
Alderman Fuller.
Thank you. Two quick questions, I guess, in looking at that, Mike, and your numbers. How many cats did Service Valley Animal Shelter run through each month for us last year? About 5.
I don't know off the top of
About 5. We had 5 kennels. That has up to 35 cats a month. So there's a huge difference in what one company is offering versus what the other company is offering. But the other thing, I guess I just go back to and echo what Alderman Blessum said. I was part of helping with this process over the last week. I went out and looked at properties and buildings. There's discussions going on behind the scenes. And as Tom said, everybody in the city has been on this. So for us to come in here after they've done all this work and yank the rug out from underneath them after we made a decision a month ago, I can't get behind that either. And I would encourage my fellow council members to vote for the existing motion.
I'm going to call on Alderman Olson, who's online.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So when we voted on this a few weeks ago, I was one of 3 who voted to move forward with the RFP from Service Valley Animal Shelter. Despite some questions that we had, I still felt that it was the best option and it was the least upsetting, particularly for our staff. And I have seen firsthand in the last few weeks how much time and effort our staff has put in as well, and I'm very appreciative of that. I would be in favor of considering the Service Valley proposal if that is an option. And I guess my question is either to our city attorney or to Chief Fry on whether or not we believe that that is even an option for us at this point.
Mayor Janser, Alderwoman Olson, to answer the procedural portion of this, we'd have to dispose of the motion at hand. And if it fails, then a motion to suspend the rules would be in order because our motion for reconsideration is a 2-step process. It has to be initiated by a council member that voted with the majority on the question, which Alderman Hayes is. But our rules also say that it has to be made at the same or the next succeeding meeting, and we're outside of that window at this particular meeting. So that's the portion of the rule that would have to be suspended by the council in order to do a motion to reconsider on that true contract. I haven't had a conversation with Service Valley Animal Shelter as to whether they're still willing to leave that contract as it was on the table. But Chief Fry has approached the podium, so he may have some more information for that on you.
Chief Fry.
Members of the council, we have not spoken with Service Valley about that. We've allowed the process to play itself out based off of recommendations from the council in the past. Some of the differences in what Service Valley versus what we're looking at right now. Is there somewhat of a cost differential? Yes, there is going to be. But what we're able to serve and how we're able to serve the community is different. We're going to be up to 12 dogs at any given time, up to servicing 35 cats at any given time, along with Hairball Haven has vet techs and whatnot that are there. We're going to have the same thing at our disposal here. So is there going to be some, and we'll be looking at service contracts for veterinarians in the case we need it. But that gets us to how we move forward with this process. The county was gracious enough to extend that lease for us to use their building until August 31st. A much more substantial, a larger building that allows us to house these type of animals along with the exotics. So just that alone gets us much further, and it more than doubles our capacity, along with being a good neighbor to the county that doesn't have animal process right now. The county sheriff and others don't have anywhere really to bring their animals. We will then accept, contrary to what some would believe, a lot of the cats, dogs, whatnot, still come from outside the county. We are servicing them. It's just in a different capacity. So we're going to end up having this. Now we just have to figure out how that process moves forward. But letting you know, up to 12 dogs, 35 cats, that's a significant difference from 5 to 5. So the cost is going to be more, but you have integrated in there vet techs on both sides of these RFPs. And I'll stand for questions.
Any questions for the chief?
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Hayes.
I did have a brief conversation with Source Valley Animal Shelter today, and they had indicated with the previous contract that they would be agreeable to that.
Alderman Samuelson.
Thank you. I'll support the motion that's on the table because, as Alderman Hayes said, to me, that's the right way to go. The one thing I want to say about the financials for Source Valley Animal Shelter, they are a nonprofit. They are required to give their financials to the IRS, and they are public. So they should be able to present those. We have a right to see them. They are a nonprofit. That's in the law. They are not like paying your utility bill. They work off of donations. They work off of grants. They do fundraising. They also do sell supplies and stuff. It's totally different than a utility company or other companies that we work with. Most of those are all for profit. This is nonprofit. It's totally different on what we're looking at. I just wanted to make that.
Further discussion. So we have the original motion and a second, which is to accept. Oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Olson, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you. Just one other thought, that if we are to go back and consider the proposal from Source Valley Animal Shelter, one of the items listed in that proposal was a 30-day cancellation from either our side or the side of the Source Valley Animal Shelter Board. And so I do feel secure in knowing that if things are not going the way that we like them, we have 30 days to be able to get out of that contract. That gives me a little bit of peace. I also believe that we have not had a real thorough conversation related to this, but if we start moving forward, we're really moving in the direction of a city-owned pound. And I don't know if that's what any of the council members want. I don't know if that's what our residents want, but that's really what I see coming in the future. And prior to getting to that point, I think it needs a further discussion. So going back to the South Valley proposal, we would have some time to have that discussion.
Further discussion? Alderman Pittner.
Thank you. No, again, I agree with Mike in the sense of staff has done a lot of work on this. However, knowing that South Valley Animal Shelter option is on the table potentially, depending on how this vote goes. Again, I think that's the process. We had something in line that got us, I think it was 17 months, to next summer, to relook at this RFP, to incorporate all those things that were desired from council members. Again, to Alderman Hayes' point, this is a pay for service. This isn't an upfront cash advance. We pay for services rendered. So I really don't have a lot of heartburn about moving forward in that direction. So I will not support the motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Fuller.
Since we're having a discussion, I guess I would ask, and I know we're not supposed to talk to each other, but I want to ask Alderman Hayes. You said you talked to South Valley Animal Shelter just today. Did you talk to the chief or anybody else that's been working on this for the last 2 weeks and see where they're going and the decisions that they've made?
No, it was a RFP previously. It was all discussed then.
So, sorry, Mr. Mayor, if I can continue. So you don't know a long-term plan that may be in place that they're looking at or anything else?
A more expensive one.
Well, everything's going to be more expensive regardless. As we just said, you and I were talking earlier, this was unsustainable going forward at 200,000 plus a year, and we knew that, right?
It's unsustainable for the city to have their own pound and employ people, employ their own vet services, the facility alone, the rent on them, the utilities, water, sewer, garbage, security.
Further discussion on the motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Pittner.
No, just to kind of piggyback off of that, the question as far as have you had any discussions with individuals? I have talked with some members of the police department that have been working on this. And again, it does seem, to Alderwoman Olson's comments, maybe she's had some of those same conversations. There does seem to be a potential path to where we take this on as a city-owned pound. When we go through the budget process earlier today, we look at cutting services and maybe through early retirements or buyouts or whatever it might be. I don't know if a city-owned facility, a city-run facility, which will require staff or reallocation of resources is the route that we want to go down. Again, there's nothing stopping us from having that conversation 16 and a half months from now when this RFP would expire, or this contract would expire. So, food for thought.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Alderman Blessum.
So, the point of order, the city attorney, the motion to suspend the rules is a supermajority, is that right?
So the motion to suspend the rules, when we did it last time, section 2-31 of the city code contains the rules of order, and that has 2 subsections in it. The first subsection A outlines the rules of order applicable to the meetings of the council, and then subsection B provides that a majority vote of the council is required to pass a resolution establishing, amending, repealing the rules of order of the city council supplementary to those provided in subsection A. So previously, it was done with a majority vote of the city council because of the language that appears in subsection B.
So to be clear, we're not actually suspending the rules then, we are modifying the rules. Is that your reading of that? The way that you just explained it, we're essentially rewriting our rules
It's
on the fly.
amending the rules of order
On the
under
fly.
subsection B.
Wow. I mean, we're, folks, and the reason I bring this up now is because I actually thought that it was at least a supermajority, and in fact, maybe unanimous that was required, but I was maybe misreading it. So what we're contemplating once again, if we go down this path, is essentially we start over every single night. It doesn't matter what timing it was, how far back in the past, we just start over again. And we decide, okay, that decision we made in November, doesn't matter, let's revisit it because we don't like it. We've decided different, we had a different conversation. And again, so I'll just say this. The path that we're choosing right now, of course I'm always worried about expanding the city. We just had a discussion in the prior meeting about, I talked about how big the city staff has become, how big the government has grown to. And there's no question that will be on the table as this process goes on. I don't think this decision has a lot of bearing on that. In fact, I think this decision just helps us understand whether it's viable to have the community do this for us still. One of the main reasons why we would ever have to consider bringing this in-house and handling it as a department or as staff is because there are no viable options in the community. I'll tell you this, when you put out a pound services RFP and you get one response, we're there. We're already there. Whether we like it or we don't, one response on an RFP already tells us the answer to that question, that we don't have another viable option. And I think right now what we're finding is that while we have a provider that's willing, they're willing to do it knowing that they're the only option. And they're willing to do it at the minimum required to get there and something that helps them move their organization forward. And that's all fine. I'm glad that they put in because we need people to respond to those. My hope with the new RFP is that we get multiple responses, that we get more people saying, yes, I'm willing to be a part of this because it better fits the way I look at the world. I can take care of cats, but I'm not doing the dog side. That's something that we talked about before. So I guess I really am wary of suspending our rules, essentially rewriting our rules, because we're not even suspending them. We are amending them to make it now be reconsideration happens whenever we feel like it. And I guess in the coming months, one of the things that I will take some time to look at and to work on is a rewrite of our rules as a council, because this is not tenable. You cannot run a deliberative body under that scenario. If anywhere that you look, if you look at bylaws of private organizations, if you look at Robert's Rules of Order, amending what essentially becomes your bylaws or your rules of order is always a 2/3. And the reason for that is you don't want this situation where you're revisiting things immediately and going back on your word all the time, because that's what we're doing here. We just, as I said, the county just voted today based on our decision that was made in a public meeting to move forward. Now, again, they'll roll that back. That's not necessarily a problem in and of itself, but why did they even have to go through that? The other thing I'll say is we just had a meeting at 4 p.m. where this would have been in order to bring up for reconsideration, and it wasn't. There was an opportunity there. Now we've got to suspend the rules to do it, which it appears that there's appetite to do that on the council.
A further discussion.
So just a
City Attorney.
Mayor Janser, Alderman Blessum, I think the last city council meeting is where this could have been considered as its last. So I don't know that earlier this afternoon
I
would have been
apologize, was it two back?
I think
I'm
so.
sorry.
Yeah, there was a special meeting, and then that was where this was, the decision, the vote was made. And then, so this afternoon wouldn't have worked. We still would have had to go through the rules suspension analysis.
Further discussion. So it appears we have a motion and a second. And it appears that there's no further discussion, so I guess it's time to vote.
The motion failed 3-4 with dissent from Hayes, Janser, Olson, and Pittner.
Alderman Hayes.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules regarding revisiting Source Valley Animal Shelter's proposal that was submitted on January 20th, item 6.7, I believe it was.
So point of order. We're not suspending the rules, we're amending the rules, correct? This is a permanent change to the rules.
Alderman Blessum, Mayor Janser, I don't see this as a permanent change to the rules. This is just to suspend for this particular item.
To be clear, the way, and Steph, please, if you need to, go back through it again or maybe bring it up on our screen somehow, because the way that you read it before was you were talking about amending the rules and what it takes to amend the rules. If amending the rules takes a simple majority, that's what we're talking about. Unless there's a suspension of the rules clause in our rules.
I'll second the motion.
So public
The
information.
point hasn't been ruled on. The chair needs to rule on the point.
So public information officer, I'm plugged into DICE 7, if you want to share my screen. So 2-31 contains our rules of order with the city council. Reconsideration is found in subsection 9. It states after the decision on any question, any member of the city council that voted with the majority on the question, or either side if there was no majority, that doesn't apply here, may move for a reconsideration of the vote at the same or the next succeeding meeting without regard to whether either meeting is a regular or special meeting, however, unless the subject of reconsidering a specific vote taken at a prior meeting is mentioned unambiguously in a call for a special meeting. The specific vote in question cannot be reconsidered at the special meeting unless there's as many members present and voting at the special meeting as there were present and voting on the original vote. If at a special meeting it is not possible by virtue of the prior sentence to entertain a motion to reconsider, then such special meeting shall be disregarded in determining whether special or regular meeting shall be considered as the next succeeding meeting. After a motion for reconsideration has been acted on, no other motion for a reconsideration thereon shall be made without unanimous consent. So that applies when the motion for reconsideration has been acted on. That's where the unanimous consent comes into play. So the portion of this particular matter that's looking to be suspended is whether the motion for reconsideration should be taken at the same or the next succeeding meeting. And city clerk, correct me if I'm wrong, the motion on this particular matter that we're going to revisit was taken on February 17th. Is that accurate?
No, the motion,
The minutes.
the minutes are on this agenda, but the minutes were from the January 23rd, 2026 meeting.
Okay, January 23rd. So we've had
Had
two
a
meetings.
subsequent regular city council meeting and a workshop.
Yes, so the motion to reconsider under these rules would not be in order today as it currently stands because it's not at the current meeting and it's not at the next succeeding meeting. So that's the portion that's being looked to be revisited. And so the section that I read earlier is B. So all of these rules here that I'm scanning through, I apologize, I'm going a little quickly if you're trying to read them, is under subsection A. Under subsection B, it states that a majority vote of the council, majority vote, just 4, is required to pass a resolution establishing, amending, or repealing the rules of order of city council supplementary to those provided in subsection A. So my opinion in this, and when we did this before, and for the record, this isn't my preferred manner is to suspend the rules. I think we should be following the rules the majority of the time. But if it is going to be suspended, that's a question for the council, and under subsection B, a majority of the council is required to pass a resolution that's going to amend, repeal, establish the rules of order supplementary to those provided in subsection A. So if that's a question that Alderman Blessum, if you want to provide that to the council to vote on whether or not that's how you want to proceed with the order to suspend, I mean, I would still state that I think it's a majority vote. But-
So just to be clear, in the way that we handle things, I'm bringing Robert's rules side. The way that I would look at this is that I'm raising a point of order because I don't believe anything you read in B has anything to do whatsoever with suspending the rules. That doesn't even exist in there. It talks about establishing, amending, or repealing. So those are permanent actions in my book, in section B. So I'm raising a point of order to the chair. The chair can take advice from our parliamentarian, which the city attorney acts as our parliamentarian in our system. The chair needs to rule on my point of order. And once he does so, on whether suspending the rules fits under point B, He rules on that. If he doesn't rule the way I'm expecting and I disagree, then I can appeal that, and then the appeal goes to a vote. That's all Robert's rules. I would doubt that we have all that detail written in this section.
It is not, but subsection 13 does state that any question of procedure not covered in shall be governed by Robert's Rules of Order.
Correct. So I would ask the chair to rule on whether he believes suspending the rules falls under section B, as you've noted.
So it appears to me that establishing, we're not doing that, amending, and, you know, it doesn't talk about suspending a rule in there. So, I think we have a problem with it. City Attorney, you have any other advice?
I don't. If you find that that's not what you believe the suspension falls under, then, I mean, we could table the motion if there's further questions from Robert's Rules. If you want further direction on how to proceed, we can reference parliamentary procedure and bring that back to the board to consider.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on Robert Rules of Order, so, you know, I'm going by the two passages that you've cited, and at this point, that, you know, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, so Mr. Mayor, if I could, is that a ruling on your part?
I think it is.
Yeah. So the motion is not in order.
So,
While we're on this, can I just ask a couple quick questions to maybe the city attorney, because she'd have the best. So the state's rules for majority are 2/3. How come ours is different than the state legislature? And I mean, you don't have to give it to me today if you don't know the answer.
And so, I mean, I read the Rules of Order and I was relying on subsection B, which was appealed to the chair, and the chair's determined that that's not what he believes rules in this situation, which is in his discretion to do. So that's the finding.
Okay. No, I just for personal knowledge, I guess, you know, like when the state wants to repeal something within 7 years, they have to have a 2/3 majority of the whole Congress or legislature to pass that. Like here, it seems our rules say we have to have a simple majority, and I'm just asking why we would do that different than what the state is doing when we're trying to do something like that.
And that I mean, it's been a long time since our Rules of Order have been put in place and have been amended, so I don't know the intent behind the language of the ordinance, but I mean, it sounds like it's something that's ripe for the council to revisit.
So, Mr. Mayor.
having made,
Go ahead.
excuse me. Having made that ruling, I think I'm going to speak to this matter just for a second. I think we made a poor decision when we decided not to accept the proposal from Sears Valley. Not because it was a perfect proposal, not because it had everything we wanted, whether it be quantity or whether it be information that we got access to, whether it be a position on their board. But as Alderman Olson pointed out, we have a 30-day out clause on that, and as opposed to putting our department into a scramble and trying to figure out on the fly what we were going to do about housing animals in this city when February 28th came around. We could have taken time and done a more orderly process of figuring out where we really wanted to go. And so in that respect, I agree with Alderman Hayes that we put ourselves in a position, and whether it's based on parliamentary procedure or rhetoric, because one of the members realized that maybe that would have been the right thing to do to begin with. Now we're going to go through this whole process and spend more money when in fact the constant beat of the drum is we need to cut expenses. And so I'm not terribly pleased where this thing has ended up, and I guess I want everybody to know that. Alderman Hayes.
Well, we're kind of at a dead end, but I can't see leaving this hanging. What are our options for? Can we put back on? Because Source Valley will, I believe, apply and put their name in the hat for services with the RFP. We don't want to leave, we need to get something accomplished quick. That was the purpose of getting this on tonight's agenda.
Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Alderman Blessing.
The answer right now under our rules is reconsideration immediately. Anybody who is on the prevailing side of the original motion to put the RFP out can make a motion to reconsider right now. The one thing I'll also say, just to remind everybody, the original motion on the night that we took this up was to give ourselves until the end of June to make this decision by going to month. That was the original motion on this. So before we get all worked up about whether we've made a bad decision or whether we've been hasty or any of that, we already tried to buy that time. That was the original motion that nobody wanted. So right now, we can have a motion to reconsider this today and put out the RFP because that action was taken tonight. We could also do that at the first meeting in March if that's still there, if somebody wants to do it there.
Alderman Olson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with you and Alderman Hayes that right now we have a situation that was worse than what we had a few weeks ago. And so I'm going to make a motion to direct staff to visit with Souris Valley Animal Shelter to determine if their previous proposal is still appropriate, if they are still wanting to enter into services with us, and then to bring that back to us at the next meeting.
Oh, point of order, Mr. Mayor, that's no way in order, not a chance. That's a reconsideration.
It is not a reconsideration, sir.
City Attorney, do you have any thoughts on this?
I mean, it's direction to staff to visit with Souris Valley Animal Shelter and bring back their negotiating terms to the city council. I don't know if those negotiating terms could be ripe for change, if they could bring back a different proposal. There was an RFP that went out, so I don't know if the council would consider different terms in the contract to be considered a true motion to reconsider, or if that could be something that's considered different.
Mr. Mayor, the intent of my motion is to see if Souris Valley Animal Shelter truly is interested in following the proposal that they presented to us in January with no changes.
Okay.
If there's no changes, then it isn't anything new or different. It's a reconsideration, just as Mike said. If there's no change to what she's asking them to do when they talk to Souris Valley Animal Shelter, or there's no change in what Souris Valley Animal Shelter is going to give to us, it is strictly a reconsideration. It is not something new.
Okay, so let's see if we can sort this out a little bit. Is the chairman of the Souris Valley
Mr. Mayor, I have a point of order on the floor. And the other thing we need to understand is under state law, if we make a decision to reject RFP responses, can we even just a month and a half later decide, oh, no, we do want to accept it? Like, I don't see how in the world that can be okay under state law. But there's a point of order that I've already raised, which is this amounts to reconsideration. That point of order needs to be ruled upon.
I'm getting a shrug of shoulders from the city attorney, and I'm gonna say that so I think it does amount to a reconsideration. We're basically going back to the same proposal that we had, that we rejected. So, you know, the other alternative is to, at this point, reconsider our vote on the new RFP, as has been suggested. Alderman Hayes.
I would move at this point to do a reconsideration on the RFP that we previously had done, just to keep it moving forward. Source Valley will have the opportunity. They've indicated that they would participate, and hopefully they will, that we continue to move this forward.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Alderman Fuller. Any discussion? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to reconsider.
The motion to reconsider passed 6-1 with dissent from Alderman Pittner.
All right, so we're back to reconsideration of item 6.7, the RFP for pound services. What are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? It appears there is none. Let's go ahead and vote.
The motion passed 6-1 with dissent from Alderman Pittner.
That concludes our action item agenda. Our next section is personal appearances. If you wish to appear, you will need to fill out a speaker's card. It must include your name, your address, which will be kept confidential, and the topic that you wish to speak on. Okay, City Clerk has not received any speaker's cards, so it appears that no one wishes to address the council this evening in that section. And I see no one, so with that, we will move on to the next item, which is miscellaneous and discussion items. Any, Alderman Blessing?
Mr. Mayor, I've got a couple actually. So in light of the discussion that we've just had, I'd like to make a motion to direct city staff to draft adjustments to our rules that we can consider at a future meeting no later than the end of April.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
If I can
Alderman
continue,
Blessing.
Mr. Mayor. So with that, again, I don't want to go in with any preconceived notions. I think that we have to work through what this means because we at least have a whole. Because if we do want a way to suspend, then let's write a way to suspend. Because today it looks like we would have to do a permanent one. We didn't even get to the next point of that line, which said it has to be a resolution. So can we write a resolution on the fly even to do what we were trying to do? I don't know. But I think that it would be good for us to revisit this and get our rules of order updated. It sounds like it's been a while. So I would look to staff on some recommendations, and then we can take it up no later than the end of April.
We can
Any discussion on the motion? Oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Pittner.
I agree with Alderman Blessum. I think just having some clarity moving forward, so we're not in this predicament again where we're trying to decipher and have the chair rule in real time. And again, just having some, again, I'll be completely honest. I'm not opposed to having the suspension of the rules, because we see how quickly staff work, even on an issue like this. We'll talk about this issue individually. A lot of moving parts. You're talking about going from having an RFP where only one respondent it was a public RFP. This wasn't something that a backdoor deal that was negotiated with Service Valley Animal Shelter. I don't want it to ever be conceived that way. Everyone had an opportunity to bid on this. They didn't. We got to the point where we are now. It failed 3-4 to move that contract forward at our special council meeting, when one member of the body works with city staff, wasn't privy to the conversations, or sees the direction that maybe we're going to go towards a pound based off of some of these, a city-owned pound. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility, or I don't think it's inappropriate, I should say, to have someone reconsider something when it's not just at the next meeting. I believe there are scenarios for that. So when you know better, do better. So again, I'll support this motion.
And Mr. Mayor, on that point, I agree, Paul. And I think that we can all envision times when that may come up. And I think it's just in our best interest to have a set of rules for how that occurs. I think that's the key. And one thing for us all to think about in the coming few weeks here while we're working our way through this, as I said before, typically you do updates to your bylaws or your governing rules with 2/3 majorities. And that is how you want to look at that. That doesn't mean reconsideration has to. But the one thing I want us to be careful about is that I don't think it's appropriate for us tonight to say, oh, that decision back in November that we've already taken action on and things that we've done. We can't just do that, right? So there's parameters there. So I think that's the kind of things that we want to be thinking about as we look at this rules package. Now, my guess is there's a lot of municipalities across this country, and I'm guessing that they have some things we can look at. And Steph, I know your team does a great job of that. So I'm sure that we'll see some options that are going to make sense to us, and we'll be able to put that together.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Correct?
Do.
All right. I see no further discussion. Let's go ahead and vote on the motion on the floor.
The motion passed unanimously.
One more.
Alderman
Mr. Mayor, if I
Blessum.
could. Thank you. And normally I wouldn't want to do things that are not directly on the agenda, but the reason that I'm going to do this is because during consent, we did approve the members of our ALPR committee. And so I want to direct staff as well to set up our first meeting for that committee no later than March 15th. And I'd like to do that here. So that's my motion.
Alderman Blessum. Well, first of all, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I would like to offer a friendly amendment to try to have that meeting take place before the 7th of March. Because I'm going to be out of the community for some time between the 7th and the 15th. So it would, make sense to have it before the 7th. If
Agreed.
you're-
No later than the 7th. So I'm fine with that if Alderman
Second,
Fuller
you're
is.
all right? Okay.
Yep.
City Clerk?
I have no problems working with staff to get that set up. I just, for expectations of the first committee meeting, I don't believe the LPR has been implemented yet. If I'm under the understanding, it's in training. So there might not be a lot at that first meeting to discuss other than future ideas of what that committee will be, just for open knowledge.
And that would be fine, because obviously we're going to need a little bit of training ourselves and some orientation before we can swing into action, so to speak. So that initial meeting can be can be that. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's vote.
The motion passed unanimously.
Okay, liaison reports is item number 9. We'll start with Alderman Hayes.
I had last week the opportunity to select the architectural and engineering firm for the police station remodel, and that's it.
Alderman Fuller.
Thank you. Let's see, we had the joint county, city first library merger meeting together a little over a week ago. And then I have the regular library board meeting and the Ward County Planning Commission this Thursday.
Alderman Samuelson.
Have the Ward County Planning and Zoning this week, and we're actually looking at doing a few changes to the zoning ordinance.
My items were covered during my mayor's report. Alderman Pittner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had a Ren Zone last month. Had a few applications come through. Facade program, we'll see those on subsequent agendas. No meeting this month. There will be one in March. Obviously, Visit Minot board. One topic of discussion, obviously, was the end of the Hoostefest that they announced. There's been some talk, I think, throughout the public about kicking that up in maybe a reimagined form. So, again, not Visit Minot's lift per se, but anything we can do to help elevate any of those things within our community, we're welcome to do. So,
Alderman Blessam.
Thank you. We had our, let's see, I believe it would be the 3rd or 4th transportation development project meeting on the bus system. So that continues to move down the rails. Good work going on there, public meetings, getting input from the public on, sort of what their needs and wants are from that system. But we continue to be staring in the face the same things that we've already talked about as we looked at earlier today. Increased funding needed, huge costs along with that. So my hope is that we can come to something that will be workable and meet the needs of our residents at the right price. Commission on Aging is this week, helped out engineering today, look at the 3rd Street Bridge and select an engineering firm to continue that process. So lots going on.
All right, thank you all very much. One last reminder to get your nominations in for the Good Neighbor Award. And Alderman Olson, are you?
I am here, ready to
All
report,
right,
Mr.
all
Mayor. January 22nd, I participated in the Central Dakota MPO Executive Board meeting. On the 28th, toured the North Dakota National Guard facility, which was very interesting. February 10th, participated in the Souris Basin Planning Council Executive Board meeting. Their full board meeting is coming up on February 25th. And on the 11th, as Alderman Fuller already indicated, participated in the library merger committee meeting, had some good discussion, and we'll continue moving forward with that. That is my report. Thank you.
All right. Is there anything further for the good of the order? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
moved.
Second.
Moved and second, do we adjourn? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, we're adjourned.